Need for inspections. Part 396 of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations covers the vehicle inspections required by the Department of Transportation. You may wonder why the government makes such an issue of inspections. When you take a truck out, you have a responsibility to uphold. You are sharing the road with others, in vehicles large and small. You want to be sure that the truck will respond to your control so you can drive it safely. Your truck must be in top running order for this to take place. And the only way for you to be sure your vehicle is in good condition before you get behind the wheel is to make a personal inspection of all parts and accessories. Don't you think it makes sense to make sure everything is in order before taking off down the road with a large and very expensive piece of equipment? Certainly you would check your car before taking off on a cross-country trip. You would want to make sure everything is in good running order so you can avoid any unnecessary trouble on your trip. Personal safety. No one is more important to you than yourself. Therefore, to ensure your personal safety on the road should be your first concern. When you comply with the laws and regulations set down by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, you ensure your safety as a driver. After you inspect your vehicle, you gain a feeling of confidence. You are free from worry that something might break down and lead to further complications. This feeling alone can make a difference in your driving habits. If you're not worrying about whether your brakes will hold or your lights will work, your mind is free to focus on the traffic. This simply allows you to be a better, safer driver. Required by law. Why are there laws requiring the inspection of vehicles you plan to operate? Laws are guidelines which have been set up to protect everyone, the carrier, the client, the public, and you. They set standards and provide some assurance that these standards will be met. If there were no regulations, what would stop a less professional driver from jumping in an unsafe truck and heading down the road? The fact that you completed a full inspection on your own vehicle would be small comfort if he plowed into you because his brakes failed. Regulations also serve as a constant reminder of the steps which should be taken for the safe operation of the vehicle. Without a set of guidelines, it is too easy to forget all the steps that must be taken each and every time you head out on your trip. Carriers' required records. According to the regulations, it's actually the carrier who is charged with seeing that vehicles are inspected and that records are kept of these inspections. In practice, though, it's the driver who usually does the actual inspection and fills out the reports. In doing so, you're acting as the carrier's agent. And, if the vehicle you're driving is found to be unsafe, it's you, the driver, who is most likely to be fined. That's why you have to know what is required. Regulations call for carriers to maintain a regular system of inspection covering all their vehicles. Also, they must keep a maintenance record on each of the vehicles. Driver's responsibilities. As a driver, you will inspect your vehicle before and after your run. Specifically, the regulations require you inspect your vehicle at the end of your run and report any repairs that should be made. Then, in your pre-trip inspection, you verify those repairs have been made. But here's where practice differs slightly from policy. What usually happens is that the pre-trip inspection is more thorough than the post-trip. In the pre-trip, you not only check that repairs were made, but also make sure that various systems and components are in good working order. This makes sense when you consider that you may not always have the same truck today that you had yesterday. You want to be confident the truck you are about to drive is safe. We'll look at how these two inspections work together later in this chapter. Types of inspections. There are several types of inspections. They each have a slightly different purpose. Pre-trip inspection. Your pre-trip inspection involves a complete circle check of the vehicle you will be driving. You'll check a number of sites along the inside and outside of the tractor and trailer, and your inspection will take you full circle around your vehicle. By following the same steps every time, you will not overlook any part of your inspection duties. You'll have to show you can perform a pre-trip inspection to get your CDL. In-transit inspection. Your responsibility to make inspections doesn't stop once you move out on the road. In-transit checks are something you should include as part of proper road operations. Being aware of the condition of your vehicle while you drive can prevent a major problem from taking place. The law does not require that you inspect your vehicle while you are in transit. However, it is good practice to do so. Your vehicle may have passed your pre-trip inspection, but problems can develop while you are out on the road. It is suggested you make a quick check at every meal stop. There are circumstances which even warrant a stop alongside the road to make a check of certain conditions. A load of hazardous materials demands a tire check at the beginning and end of your trip and each time you park. Driving a reefer means you will want to stop and check the temperature periodically. This is the time to make an in-transit inspection just to remain on the safe side. Post-trip inspection. According to Section 396.11, a report of the vehicle's condition must be made at the end of each day's work. Section 396.3 and Part 393 detail the parts and accessories which must be checked. Any defects must be reported and repaired. Whoever makes the repairs, be it you, someone in maintenance, or an outside garage, must sign the report to certify repairs have been made. This driver's vehicle inspection report (DVIR) then forms the basis of the next pre-trip inspection. You'll verify that needed repairs were made and that nothing else is wrong with the vehicle. Official roadside inspections. Section 396.9 of the DOT Safety Regulations authorizes a special agent of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration (FMCSA) to stop and inspect your vehicle. This agent could be a federal or state DOT representative, highway patrol officer, weighmaster, or Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance (CVSA) official. This inspection could take place alongside the road, or at a port of entry station. This is an inspection you definitely want to pass. If you don't, your vehicle can be declared out of service by the special agent. The inspection takes only about 15 or 20 minutes. If there are no problems found with your vehicle, you can be on your way once again knowing that you are behind the wheel of a safe vehicle. If your vehicle is declared out of service by the inspector, you cannot drive the vehicle until the repair has been made and the vehicle has been re-inspected. If the vehicle cannot be repaired right where it is, it will have to be towed to a repair shop. The roadside inspection is concerned with the most common violations that can take place as a result of the driver's failure to make the pre-trip inspection. The driver is also subject to inspection. The agent will check to see if you are keeping your logs up to date. Your condition is also observed to make sure you are truly able to operate the vehicle safely. If your vehicle does not pass the roadside inspection, you must deliver the report to your carrier within 24 hours. Once the motor carrier has received the inspection report, the carrier has 15 days to take care of the problems stated on the report. To make the business of official roadside inspections more efficient, 48 states, Canada, and Mexico have joined an organization called the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. The CVSA developed a standard inspection that can be conducted quickly by a mobile unit. That's the critical item inspection, which involves checking the brakes and steering, tires and wheels, the fifth wheels, drawbars, and suspension. Once you pass the inspection, you will receive a sticker for your vehicle. The sticker is good for 3 months. It shows concerned officials that your vehicle has been inspected recently and passed. In CVSA member states, if you pass the critical item inspection, you're not likely to be subject to another roadside inspection for 90 days unless the official notices something clearly wrong. Making inspections. When making inspections, it helps to follow a routine. That way you don't forget anything. One routine you might use has 7 steps. Note the vehicle's condition in general as you approach it. Review the most recent vehicle inspection report looking for problems that require special attention. Check the engine compartment. Start the engine and inspect inside the cab. Turn off the engine and check all the lights. Walk all around the vehicle checking critical parts. Check the signal lights. Start the engine and check the brakes. Here are some specific things to look for. Overview. Make sure the vehicle is level, not leaning to one side or the other. Check the ground under your truck for puddles or wet spots, which means something is leaking. Search until you find out where they are coming from. Are there any black streaks of oil on the inside sidewall of a tire? That likely means a wheel seal is leaking. Review the most recent DVIR. In the engine compartment, make sure the parking brakes are set or chock the wheels. Check fluid levels. You should be able to see the radiator water level just below the neck of the filler cap. Use the dipstick to check the oil. Check the tension and condition of belts by pressing down on them. There should be no more than 3/4 of an inch of slack. Look for small oil leaks. Check the battery connections, the battery box, and hold-downs. Look for corrosion around the battery posts. Unless you have a maintenance-free battery, you should check the battery fluid level. Make sure all the vent caps are in place. Look for cracked or worn wiring insulation and broken or disconnected wires. Check the compressor oil supply and the supply of alcohol in the alcohol evaporator, if you have one. Inside the cab, put the gearshift in neutral park if you have an automatic. Start the engine and listen for strange noises. Check all the gauges. Make sure they work and give normal readings. Chapter 2 has details on what normal readings to expect. Test all switches and controls to make sure they work. Check the air brake system. The air brake system checks are described in Chapter 4. Unless you want an air brake restriction on your CDL, you'll have to show the examiner you can perform these tests. Do them during the engine start part of the pre-trip inspection. Clean and adjust your mirrors. Check your windows for cracks. If the glass is dirty, clean it. Check the supply of windshield washer fluid. Make sure your wiper blades are in good condition, and that the wipers work. If there is anything, stickers, signs, that will obstruct your view, remove it. Only stickers and decals required by law are permitted. Make sure you have a properly charged and rated fire extinguisher. It must be rated at least 5B/C. If you are hauling hazmat, it must be rated at least 10B/C. You must also have 3 reflective triangles. Unless the truck has circuit breakers, you must also have spare fuses. Make sure you have cargo manifests and any special permits you might need to haul your load, and supplies for doing your log. Check the lights. Turn off the engine. Turn on the headlights and the 4-way flashers. Leave the cab, take the key with you, and make sure the headlights and 4-ways are working. Make sure both high and low beams work. Turn these lights off. Turn on the parking, clearance, side marker and identification lights, and right turn signal before starting the walk around inspection. Walk around inspection. Start at the left front side. Walk toward the front of the truck, inspecting as you go. Inspect the front of the truck. See that all the lights there are clean and working. They should be amber in color. Walk down the right side, inspecting critical areas there. Note that the right turn signal is working. It should be amber or white in color. If your tractor is a cab over, see that the cab lock is engaged. Go on to inspect the back of the truck. Check all the lights and reflectors there. They should be red. If you have mud flaps, make sure they're not torn, dragging, or rubbing on the tires. Make sure the license plate is securely in place and clean. Work your way back to the cab, inspecting the left side of the truck. Check that all the lights and reflectors are clean and free of damage, amber color in front, red at the rear. If your battery is here instead of the engine compartment, inspect it now. During the walk around, closely inspect the following parts and systems. Tires. Check the tread depth. Remember, 4/32 of an inch of tread are needed on the steering axle and 2/32 of an inch on the rest of the tires. Are there any cuts in the rubber? Do any of the plies show? Are duals touching? Are tire sizes, or radials and bias types mixed on the same axle? Check for cut or cracked valve stems. Check the pressure with a gauge. Wheels. Check the lug nuts for tightness. Look for any cracks starting to form around the lug nuts. Rust or bright metal are signs the nuts are loose and the wheel is not mounted tightly. Look for damaged rims and missing parts. Check for welding repairs, which are prohibited. Check the hub oil level. Suspension. Check for cracked or broken leaves. Check for deflated or hissing airbags. Note spring hangers that allow the axle to move out of position. Look for damaged or missing torque rods or arms, U-bolts, or spring hangers. Check the condition of the shock absorber. Brakes. Check for loose or missing parts and check the push rod travel. Refer to Chapter 4 for more details on adjusting the slack adjusters. See that brake linings have not worn thinner than 1/4 inch. Brake shoes and linings should not have oil, grease, or brake fluid on them. Axles. Powered axles should not leak oil. Check the condition of the lift mechanism on retractable axles. If they're air-powered, check for leaks. Sliders. Make sure lock pins are firmly in their holes and locking devices are in place. Air system. Look for hoses that are kinked, rubbing, or worn. Listen carefully for hissing noises. Search for the source of the leak. Drain water from the air tanks. Coupling. Make sure the trailer air and electrical connections are made properly and that lines are not dragging. Be sure to check all air and electrical connections throughout a double or triple combination. Fuel tanks. Double-check the fuel level in all tanks. See that the tanks are mounted securely, and that fuel crossover lines aren't hanging dangerously low. Fifth wheel. See that the coupling is secure. Make sure the fifth wheel release lever is locked. There should be no space between the upper and lower fifth wheel. Don't forget to check the fifth wheel, locking lever, and safety chains on the dolly in a double or triple rig. Landing gear. If the trailer is coupled to the tractor, the landing gear should be up and the handle stowed away. Spare tire. If you have a spare tire, make sure that it's in good condition and that it's mounted securely in the rack. Exhaust system. Look for loose, broken, or missing pipes, mufflers, or stacks. See that exhaust system parts aren't rubbing against fuel system parts, tires, or other moving vehicle parts. Check for exhaust system leaks. Steering system. Look for bent, broken, or missing parts. If you have power steering, make sure you check the hoses, pumps, and the level of power steering fluid. Check for leaks. Steering wheel free play should be no more than 2 inches to either side of a 20-inch steering wheel. Shake the steering arm, tie rod, and drag link at each wheel to see they are not loose. Cargo securement. Make sure you have the minimum number of T-downs according to FMCSR Part 393.110, and that all bindings and chains are in good condition and secure. Check blocking and bracing to assure yourself that the load won't shift once the truck is in motion. Check the seals on sealed cargo. Check locks and latches on trailer doors. Check the tailboard or end gate, if you have one. Any canvas or tarp must be tied down so it won't flap or billow out. If you're hauling an oversized load, make sure you have the signs, lights, and flags you need. If you have sideboards or stakes, make sure they are free of damage and securely in place. Check the header board, if you have one. Make sure that it's in good condition. Check the signal lights. When you've been all around the vehicle, get back in the cab. Turn off the lights. Pull down the trailer brake hand valve. Next, turn on the turn signal. Go out and make sure the stop lights are on and that front and rear signals are working. The front signal should be amber or white, the rear signal red, amber, or yellow. Check the brakes. Checking the brakes means checking the service and parking brakes, as well as the air brake system. Put on the trailer brakes, then try to move forward in the lowest gear. If the trailer brakes are working and the coupling is secure, they should hold you back. Use a similar method to check the service brake. Release the parking and trailer brakes. Then test the service brake's power to stop the truck while moving forward in low gear. Test the parking brake by applying it while stopped. Then see if it holds as you try to move forward. Daily Vehicle Inspection Report Form. Just as you make your inspection each day before you go out on the road, so too will you need to fill out your daily vehicle inspection report form. This is a checklist of all the items which must be inspected and which must be in safe operating condition before the vehicle may be driven. You saw one example of a vehicle inspection report form in the observation skills test. There's another type you might see. With this form, you check off only those items that need attention. The vehicle inspection report form is often combined with the driver's daily log in the same book. Actually, the inspection report form serves two functions. It helps to remind you of all the things which must undergo your keen examination each day. And it is written proof that the inspection did take place. The law requires that this report be filled out, and it must be turned in at the end of each day's completed work assignment. Filling out the report. Make sure that you do not overlook any part of your checklist. Don't rush through it. Your report must list any and all problems that could hamper the safe operation of the vehicle in question. If your inspection fails to turn up any defects, this too should be stated in your report. The report must identify the motor vehicle and it must be signed by you. In the case of team operations, only one driver need sign the report. If you operate more than one vehicle in one day, it is your responsibility to fill out a vehicle inspection report on each vehicle. Repair defects promptly. A defect can affect the safe operation of your vehicle. No matter what it is, the problem should be taken care of promptly. In fact, the regulations require the carrier to see to it that any defect is taken care of to return the vehicle to a safe condition of operation. If repairs are not made to correct the defect, it is against the law to take the vehicle out onto the road. Don't forget, the safety of the public is threatened by the presence of an unsafe truck on the public roadway. Attitude. The attitude toward inspections is one of the differences between a truck jockey and a professional driver. It is very easy to get into a habit of walking around your truck and saying you inspected it. You look without seeing. You start saying to yourself, it was fine yesterday. I don't need to check it again. You start filling out the inspection report from the cab of your truck. Because your truck is designed to be a reliable piece of equipment, you might get away with a slipshod attitude toward inspections for a good long while. But the mark of a true professional is taking pride in the little everyday things that no one sees you doing. You don't inspect your truck just because it's required, or you're afraid of being put out of service. You do it because it's part of doing your job right. Also, inspection is something you should be doing all day long, not just once a day. You should always be listening to, watching, and paying attention to your truck. For example, every time you walk back to open your trailer doors, inspect that side of the truck. Then take the long way back to the cab and inspect the other side. Listen to the truck when you are driving. Get used to its normal noises. Then when you hear something new, figure out what caused it. Watch your tires in the mirrors. Be sensitive to the feel of the truck. Just paying close attention to the truck will go a long way toward making it a safe vehicle. Make inspecting the truck a habit that you do whenever you are around it. Congratulations! You have completed Chapter 1 Vehicle Inspection. Next up, Chapter 1 Vehicle Inspection Quiz.